do you have any kind of final words about how you kind of ensure that you find a good cultural fit with the candidate at your company, or is it just really, can I have a beer with this person?
Well, that's just kind of my perspective and trying to be light tonight. And our process for hiring is not overdone, but it is complex enough. I mean, there are some companies that make people come back for 10 interviews. I think that's ludicrous. Plus the fact that by the time you get to the third or fourth interview, they've probably taken a job elsewhere.
Yep.
So you have to speed things along a bit. But when you have a process, it's almost like putting spaghetti into a strainer, and little by little, all that water comes out of the little tiny holes, and you're left with spaghetti. So I usually will do the pre-screen, and we'll have a conversation like you and I are having, or kind of discussing kind of the things that I discussed before. Yeah, I'll start off with a question like, "What do you know about our company?" And I love that one because it's so easy that it's silly, and yet so many people they don't know what to say because they didn't really visit your website, and they start to throw all sorts of things together that make absolutely no sense. And I don't want to have them struggle, so I'll say, "Okay, I'll fill you in. I'll tell you what there is to know." But I am making a mental point that they didn't take the time to look at our company. They didn't get to learn about it. How are you going to go to work for a company you don't know anything about? So
Exactly.
we start there, and then I'll tell them a lot about our history, and then we'll move into tell me about yourself. We all know that question, and I'll hear how they organize their thoughts. And some people even have problems with that. They struggle. Where do you want me to start? You should know that. Do you want to start from the beginning? Does it make any sense? Well, I went to PS 405 grade school. I don't think so. I think you want to start off with things that relate to what it is that you're looking to do. Put the rest on the side, because if you discuss all that, you don't have more than half an hour to an hour for that interview. You want to get to the meat of things. We want to know what skills they actually have. How in depth are their programming skills? Did they learn anything? Have they done anything? Did they have an intern or a co-op? By the way, everybody listening tonight, if you're in school, make sure that you get at least one summer co-op or internship. It is critical. The people that we take for these jobs or these roles, I'd say we convert about 90% of them to full-time jobs. So it's a good opportunity to learn about a company over a summer. Start doing the work to see if you actually like what you're doing, and show yourself. I mean, are you going to be a good teammate? We get a lot of feedback from the people they work with. Yeah, I like this individual. Great to work with. Very helpful. Sometimes the feedback is not good, and then we get into a little bit about our culture. I mentioned fit is very important. I don't think I've ever had anybody that said to me, "Mark, that's not the right fit for me," because we offer so much. I mean, I can go into tons of things that we do for our team members. I mean, we buy lunch for everybody every day. That's an expense for a company, but we want people to hang around and be with each other and get to learn each other well, because then you collaborate better. So it makes sense. And I asked our owner, I said, "Well, what happens, Dave, when we have 700 team members?" "Well, we'll continue to buy lunch for them all. This is something that I believe he believes in." So, we talk about that. And throughout the whole time I've been at the company, there was only one candidate that ever said, "That's not the right culture for me." And his reasoning, I respect it. He's not a people person. He doesn't really want to network with people after work, or spend a lot of time with them during the day. Just put his head down and do the work. So we want to make sure that these people will work out. Then they go on for the second interview, and again, you have the people that they're going to be working with and their manager. Let's see what they think. So there's an opportunity for a second opinion. And then we have an on-site, because you obviously want to show people where they're going to work, let them
Yep.
actually physically meet the manager and the team. And again, you're getting another perspective. So little by little, you're getting all these tidbits, and there's some documentation that we fill out, and then we kind of cross-reference and see what everybody thought. And then you go through, after the offer stage, the reference checking. What are other people going to say about this individual? Have they worked before? Have they given you a professor maybe that they took a class with? What is their perspective? And I'll always ask the question, look, we have a robust learning and development program. Are there any areas that you could recommend that we drill down on and focus when this gentleman or young lady starts with us, so we can help them hit the ground running? And I got to tell you, most of them will tell you, they'll say, "Well, he or she has this little problem, and then you kind of wonder, okay, is this going to be problematic, or is this something that they could just learn and move forward with? So it's a process, and I think everybody needs to understand that, because nobody really teaches you what happens after you leave the interview. You kind of wonder, gee, how did it go? I don't know. The guy had a poker face. He really didn't share a lot about what he thought. But these are all the mental processes that go on as we decide whether or not we got the right person. And it's not science. I mean, there are times we get it wrong, but increasingly small. We've done enough validating and asking the right questions and spending time with that person to be reasonably assured that we got the person that we want.
Thank you so much for watching this segment of the Engineering Success Podcast. If you liked it, make sure to check out the other videos down below that are recommended to you. And if you really like the podcast, make sure to subscribe right down there in the middle. Really appreciate it. It's free to you and helps us a lot out. And last but not least, the best way to help the show grow is to comment down below. So leave your comment if you have any thoughts about this segment. Thanks.
I ain't chasing payments, still playing in the basement while I'm working on arrangements. They heard the kid in 50 countries, thank God that's amazing. But I'd rather thank Spotify, they put me on the station.